Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Kernels of Truth, brought to you by Progress Kentucky. In what appears to be fantastic breaking news coverage, but is in fact blind luck, we're going to be covering a big step forward in Kentucky's efforts for medical marijuana legalization with our special guests, Kristin Wilcox and Julie Cantwell, the dynamic duo behind Kentucky Moms for Medical Cannabis. Before that interview, we're going to look at D.C., how Kentucky's delegation's been dealing with the red wave that ran straight into a blue floodwall. Definitely been some water damage in D.C. nonetheless. We're also going to look at the abortion story, specifically how the victorious No on 2 campaign ran headlong into Supreme Court arguments, and what our amazing Attorney General Dan Cameron thinks the Supreme Court justices should think about that huge vote. And then we're going to wrap up with our call to action. But before we get into all that, are you ready to help turn Kentucky purple? We saw what happened on November 8th. Here in Kentucky, the GOP rode a wave of gerrymandered districts to bolster its supermajority even further. If we're ever going to match up the sensibilities of a Commonwealth who voted to uphold abortion rights with a political party that stands for abortion rights, our state needs your active engagement. If you want a Commonwealth that works for all of us, please join Progress Kentucky. Support our campaign to turn our Commonwealth purple. Pretty easy to do. Just follow us on social media, share out our content with your families and friends, spread the word that we're tired of the GOP dominated status quo in Kentucky. We think our Commonwealth is truly worth fighting for. So that's what we're asking you to do. All right. And now let's check in with our co-hosts. Let us know who you are, where you are, and what does your protest sign say today? Because again, this is not talking heads on the interwebs, right? This is a digital demonstration, a political protest for a more compassionate Commonwealth. You got to bring a sign if you show up to a protest, right? So my name's Aaron. I'm coming to you from Childsburg, which is just really a subdivision in Lexington. And my sign today says, "The voters have spoken, Daniel." That's me. All right. Kimberly, are you there? Are you muted? Kimberly's not here.
Well,
wait a minute. Here she is. Maybe. Kimberly.
There she is.
How are you?
Just another day in the life of Louisville, Kentucky, where the internet may or may not work.
All right. What's your protest sign say today? Maybe it's in the not.
My protest sign says today. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Aaron, you're looking like that.
Yes.
You all can see me too? Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your patience tonight, ladies and gentlemen. My protest sign says today, did you all know this is Kindness Week?
No.
No
yes,
idea.
This is Kindness Week. And today is Wednesday, and this is the day. Our protest sign is kindness. And I'm going to say something nice about Aaron and Nema and Annabelle. Annabelle, I love her. I admire her. She's so smart. And I'm always nice to her. Nema, you always, when I've had a rough day at work or just after surgery and you come on, you always make me laugh. And Aaron, you get on my nerves all the time.
And she froze.
Did she freeze?
She froze.
That's something. That is impressive.
That is very, very wow. Wow.
All right. Kindness. We're going to hold Kindness Week for a minute.
Yeah.
And then we're going to just check in with Nema and see what Nema's got for us.
Well, clearly, I did not know it was Kindness Week. If I had, I might have. No, who am I kidding? I wouldn't have been any nicer on Twitter or wherever else. I would have been the same Nema that I am. But my protest sign goes along with yours this week, Aaron. And it's no means no. I cannot get over the fact that the voters of Kentucky said no to this amendment. And we still have, Daniel Cameron trying to completely circumvent everything and the will of the people. So it's amazing to me. My sign says no means no.
That's awesome. Yeah, so that brings us to news of the week. So that's definitely one of the stories we're going to cover. I think we're going to start with our news from DC. As folks know, we're a Kentucky political news, online demonstration, and so we only cover DC news when there's a political angle that links it to Kentucky. So, which it's pretty easy to do because Mitch McConnell is in the news pretty much every week, and if he's not, then Rand Paul's playing the fool somehow too. But Mitch McConnell was in the news today because he beat back the first ever challenge that he has ever had since he's been the Senate Majority and Minority Leader. He's been the only leader that's kind of run for that position because he, of course, counts his votes, he gets his act together. He knows how the things are going to turn out. But so for the first time, Rick Scott challenged him. Rick Scott is the big Medicare fraudster from Florida. He is the one who is the chair of the Republican Senate committee who came up with the amazing, great strategy of laying out the Republican, kind of strategy of or overall agenda, which was to increase taxes on working people and, decrease Social Security and make all of the quote unquote entitlement programs, voted on kind of on an annual basis. So really kind of jeopardizing the social safety net for everyone. Not necessarily the best political instincts. As much as I do not like Mitch McConnell, I think generally his political instincts are good and evil, but accurate. Rick Scott does not seem to have any of that. Obviously, this got a lot of attention because Trump hates Mitch, and Mitch, I'm sure, hates Trump. But the conversation being about candidate qualities, what held back the GOP red wave in the Senate was that these folks that Trump had endorsed were, just total wingnuts, and that having the litmus test for your candidates be whether or not you are willing to say that the election was stolen maybe isn't the best strategy for finding good electable candidates. And I think Mitch was like, what the yeah, who knows? Maybe it'll turn out well for Trump, and maybe Atlanta and Georgia will go with Herschel Walker as opposed to the truly amazing Reverend Warnock. But I don't know. Any thoughts about this story generally and kind of how it? I think clearly that red wave that wasn't is inspiring a lot of questioning in the GOP, which I think is probably a good thing.
I had seen actually a tweet, I believe it was, somebody said, looked at this and basically asked the question of, well, where do they go? And was I in a silo? Like some of these pundits are now saying, well, maybe we were in silos. I'm like, you think? I'm like, so, the whole thing is kind of weird. I had talked to you before the show, Aaron, that this is the opportunity now for the grand old party to go back to the party of Reagan, not to the party of lunatics, and really do this. But now they have to put the stake in the heart now. They cannot wait any longer.
Yeah. And, Trump, of course, immediately launches his campaign, like the quickest possible launch after a midterm in the history of our political system, really. And and I think the reporting is such that he was very clearly motivated by trying to keep himself out of legal jeopardy. Like, if I'm a candidate, they can't indict me. So of course, it's always about what's best for Trump and his decision-making process. It's never about what's best he doesn't care what's best for the GOP. A little echo there. Kimberly, you're back for a minute. Do we have a Kimberly? Maybe. Let's see.
Going on with the provider.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, for the moment.
And we can see you too.
You froze right when you're about to say something nice about me. Is that what happened? You really couldn't do it. You broke the computer.
No, I love Aaron. That's like my little brother, and I really do admire Aaron. He's very, very smart. He cares about the future of this country. He truly cares about, the environment, so that, his children and my grandchildren one day. I hope and I pray I get some, and that there will be a world for them to actually live and thrive. So I really admire Aaron on that. I just yank his chain all the time because I don't have anything better to do with my life. But I love him very, very much. And he's a great dad. Like, oh my God, girl. Nema, he'd be like, I got to get off. I got to go put the kids in the... What? Father of the year? Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, I admire and respect Aaron so very, very much. And I'm going
to make sure my wife and daughters see this episode. They don't watch often, maybe ever. They maybe never watch, but I think this one I'm going to make sure they see. Kimberly, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. All right, so it's Kindness Week.
You paid me, but I just
the Venmo is on its way. So that means the other 51 weeks of the year we don't have to do this stuff. Is that what you're telling me? Like we're just going to ignore it generally.
Next week I'll be back to my regular self talking about you to your face. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, cool. So that, that was the kind of DC story. Now let's turn our sights to Frankfurt, where the Supreme Court was hearing this week about whether or not the outrageous abortion restrictions that the General Assembly has passed, whether it's the trigger law or the the Amendment 3 or HB 3, which was the omnibus abortion bill from the last session, whether those are in fact constitutional, right? So the lead in on this one, as we all know, Nema, you mentioned, like voters came out, they said no to 2, right? It wasn't like it was some blue wave across Kentucky, right? Because that was the only statewide vote that, well, okay, Amendment 1 also, but Charles Booker went down. Rand Paul got reelected in a very comfortable fashion, and yet those same voters showed up to say, actually, no, we do not. We think there should not be in our Constitution something that explicitly, limits abortion. Which you could imagine. Then what's the contrary fact there is like, that means they want abortion allowed in our Constitution, right? So it seems like the Supreme Court should be set up to just go, oh, let's check the box, we're good to go. But it didn't seem like Dan Cameron and his attorneys were necessarily arguing that side of the case, right? Disappointing to see. I don't know, Nema, any other thoughts about kind of how this has gone down?
I just think that it's really sad, and I know Kimberly's having all kinds of issues with her her internet tonight, because I'd love to hear her take on this as well. But for me, let's just be honest here. What happened? What happened is that the vote no folks were better organized. They were better prepared. They had a better message. And the GOP really thought that they could sail through on churches in Eastern Kentucky and Western Kentucky, minimal money, and just use their normal talking points. The most egregious thing I saw out of all this is them to say that nothing doesn't really mean nothing. And so for Daniel Cameron to come back and actually make these claims and try, let's remember this, you all, he wants the Supreme Court to put the exceptions in their ruling so the legislators don't have to do their job. Every bit of this is a total mess. It's a total sham. The voters have spoken, and let's just stop. Just stop. Stay out of everybody's uterus.
I love that. It doesn't seem like they're going to. I do think that, Kimberly, how are you doing? You're looking a little pixelated. How is your audio? Can we hear you? No, now she's gone again. We're having some technical difficulties. I will say this: Joe Biden, your bipartisan infrastructure law, which was supposed to bring broadband to the masses, has not reached Kimberly Cecil Jones yet. And
in Louisville,
take care of that between now and the next 2 years, right? Like, get that done. All right. So it did seem like, I wasn't able to watch the arguments, but it seemed like the Supreme Court justices were not really having it in the dismissal of the voters, clear message from Amendment 2 and rejecting that. So hopefully the Supreme Court is going to, see through all the stuff that Dan Cameron and his lackeys were arguing. But, it is like, it's totally up in the air. And your point that they were like, oh, no, really, of course we'll get some exemptions in there. It's just the legislature didn't have a chance to do it or whatever. No, actually, the legislature voted against putting exemptions in Amendment 3, HB 3 last session. So, and ACLU and others brought the receipts and showed very clearly what was going down there, and how disingenuous those arguments really were. We're showing some pictures right now from, I think, Skylar Davis, who is an amazing photographer, but then also was, I think, an organizer for Protect Kentucky Access. So was there at the protest outside the Supreme Court chambers. The reporting I've seen is that at a certain point, you can actually hear the protesters as they were kind of making the legal arguments inside, which is awesome. So proud of everyone that showed up, just in case that vote wasn't enough to remind you that we decided we want some abortion access in this state. They were there to very physically, very verbally remind folks as well with their presence and with their chants, and that's just awesome. So, hey, Kimberly, how are we doing? Do you have a little audio now for a minute?
Yes. Can you hear me and can you see me? Okay, I'm on my phone, and I just bought a new phone. Okay, so. When you talk about Daniel Cameron and what he's trying to do, and he wants to run for governor, if I were on his campaign team, I promise you that I would tell him that he's going down the wrong road. The people have spoken. The constituency of Kentucky has spoken. And he is not a great representation of what Kentucky is and will be. And especially as a Black man, it's very embarrassing. And there's an old saying for individuals like Daniel Cameron that pander up to whomever and whatever they tell them to do. And an old phrase that I heard my great grandmother say about people like this, like, he's a coon. Really, that's what we would say in the Black community. Like, you do not represent us, and you surely don't represent the people of Kentucky. He's got to go. Can we get him out of there too?
I hope so. I think it's next year, right? He runs for re-election, or no, he won't be running for re-election. He'll be running for governor. That is the most, I was adamant we were not going to talk about the governor's race until the midterms were over. Well, the midterms are over, so now we can talk about it. And I think that is it is a mess waiting to happen on the Republican side of the equation there. The fact that Kelly Craft and her husband have spent literally like millions of dollars on Trump donations, the Trump inaugural fund, and then Trump endorsed Dan Cameron. I think the most, pretty impressive that Mitch McConnell and Trump do agree politically on this one thing, which is that Dan Cameron is the guy for governor's race. But I don't think Ryan Quarles is going to just sit back and take it. I don't think Kelly Craft is going to sit back and take it. I think they're going to campaign hard and they're going to have some resources behind them. I don't know. I think who's the one that's going to get the DeSantis nod quickest. I think that's a good play. I think Quarles should go after DeSantis's endorsement like right now, and because as we talked, Trump is a mess. His campaign will be a mess, but he still has a lot of sway with those, with his base, with his MAGA base.
I don't understand what Daniel Cameron's doing. First he does this, then he's gone and pissed off the Kentucky Bankers Association. I mean, we're talking in the same week, y'all. I never thought I'd stand up and cheer for a Bankers Association before, but I'm like, it's exactly right. Give it to them.
Wait, what happened? What's the bankers story?
Well, so basically he's going after businesses that were trying to do climate protective measures. And he's saying now he's like rummaging their underwear drawers. And I'm like, hold on a second. First of all, do you all not understand free market? This is a capitalist nation, the last I checked. And businesses should be able to do whatever, I mean, they get away with murder just about. And some of them actually do if they're co-operators. But the thing is that now he's pissed them off. And so they're suing him. And so I'm like, man, he's making a lot of friends real fast.
Yeah, Dan Cameron is, I don't know, amazing.
Friends like that, I don't need enemies, right?
Yeah, he's laser focused on getting reelected, so he's going to play to that base, I think, as much as he possibly can, and ignoring the voters to be as pro-life as possible, I'm sure is very, I'm sure that'll pay off, and again, because it's all about that, the not the general election, but getting past Kelly Craft and her money, getting past Ryan Quarles and his like kind of legitimate Kentucky roots. And so, they're all just looking for, winning the primary and what do you got to do to appease the primary voters. So, it'll be interesting to watch them all play against each other. And I'm very hopeful that they bloody each other up really well, because we got to get Andy Beshear back in in the governor's office for sure. So speaking of, I think a very smart move to help him stay in the governor's office. Yeah, Nema, what's the news? What are
and this goes into Daniel Cameron again, because now he's batting 3 for 3 this week. I mean, what is today, y'all? Wednesday? So he's had something, for 3 days now, because he also opened his mouth on the governor's executive order regarding medical marijuana. And this rolls perfect into this. So big news yesterday is he announced the executive order, that would be Andy, to make it legal for those with medical conditions to possess medical marijuana, which has been legally acquired from the state. The governor also announced, you can read the EO here, and you should, as it's very compelling and lays out the rationale incredibly well. The governor also announced regulations on Delta 8. Kimberly, how does that sit with you?
What are the regulations? I need to know, first of all. Are they going to take it away? We're going to keep Delta 8? What are we doing?
No, he's going to keep it. So he respects the fact that it's been found to be legal by, somebody, right? Some in the state said it's okay to sell it. So Quarles was going after them to say they couldn't sell it, right? So again, Ryan Quarles looking to take away, the Republicans are really the anti-fun party, that's for sure. But yeah, so he's saying that we're just going to have some rules about Delta 8 and its sale in Kentucky, but to make it, to say it's legitimate, which, I think it's a smart move. Get some tax.
I think actually it's a great move on our governor, because actually, some people, they need it for medical reasons. Okay. And then number two, the only reason why this stuff gets hemmed up and backed up year after year after year is because the Republicans, they haven't figured out yet how they're going to make the most money from it. Because if you're going to do medical, and I know that Andy has to, kind of stair step it a little bit, probably going along, walking on eggshells with it. But I'm just saying, you just need to make it legal all the way around. It would produce more money for our state. It would put a lot of people in great financial situations, and it would be heavily regulated by the federal government, so you wouldn't be getting any cannabis, marijuana, Mary Jane, what's the other words? You're scared if you get it on the street level, if it's got fentanyl in it or embalming fluid and turmalin, just a lot of a myriad of different things. So, that would be great for people to have, be able to buy safe marijuana for recreational use as well as medical. So the only people that's going to be feeling good around here in Kentucky is just those that get a prescription for it.
Well, and the thing that's tricky is like, and I think this is probably because his hands are a little bit tied, right? And what can he do as governor, in the state of Kentucky? It's like, well, he's going to make it so that if you have it, legally prescribed to you and you get it from a legal source, which will not be in Kentucky, it'll have to be out of state, because he can't, just with a stroke of a pen, I don't think set up that legal medical establishment, right? But so
well, let's just go spend our money in Illinois.
Exactly.
And they're getting all the money.
Right.
I mean, I'm with Kimberly on this, and I've said this before, and I'll die on this hill. I think we should legalize it and make every strip site in Eastern Kentucky a pot field. When you hit the Mountain Parkway, I want you to be able to smell weed. And I'm going to tell you why. We're going to get people back to work. Those are good jobs. They're union jobs. A lot of these, several dispensaries are Teamster jobs. And let's put people back to work. But you know what it is? It's just old-fashioned ignorance and reefer madness. And, we could have been the beacon for something like this, but yet we can't even get medical passed for sick people. And, shame, which rolls me into our guests. Did you like that little thing I just did? I'm getting better at this, y'all.
Transition.
So good, Nema, so good.
So we're going to hear from some of the folks who've been on the ground in the thick of it for the last several years. We're talking to Kristin Wilcox and Julie Cantwell of Kentucky Moms for Medical Cannabis. And I think they were both on the Cannabis Advisory Committee as well. I have been looking forward to this for a week now. Hey, guys.
Hi.
So what's going on? What's happening?
Who wants to talk first? Go ahead. Well, I will say that, if this is about patients, then Andy absolutely did the right thing. That's the biggest thing that I want to say, is that, he did the right thing. And now we just need the legislature to do the right thing. Get politics out of the way and let's do the right thing and let's help these people.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Kristin.
I too am very grateful for the governor. What he did yesterday took backbone. He went above and beyond any of our expectations, and this will help not only my child but thousands of Kentuckians across the state.
Mm-hmm.
I am truly grateful for what he's done. I'm highly disappointed now hearing some of our legislators. You mentioned Daniel Cameron. He's like a broken record. He's going to fight this. And even some of our advocates who have pretended to be on our side all these years, some of our legislators too, to hear them complaining about Andy, knowing good and well that their efforts have failed us all these years. And so I just think it's they're playing a partisan chess game with lives here. Every day we watch people suffer. We hear people's stories from all over the state. We've been doing this several years. And we feel a personal sense of obligation to help these people. And the governor has stepped up and made it happen. And I think this gives us a little leverage to work with the legislature moving forward.
I hope so. I think, obviously, as I said before, the governor's got kind of very narrow lanes where he can kind of assert power to make this stuff legal. But, he's been pretty clear from day one that he, put this group together. They went across the state, heard from lots and lots of people. You guys were on that task force or that committee, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So what was that like? What kind of feedback were you guys getting across our Commonwealth, and what were people telling you?
Go ahead.
You want me to go? we did not get any opposition at all. It was all positive. It was a lot of heartwarming stories. A lot of people are really suffering. And I think that it really breaks your heart to hear all these stories, and then to have the legislature that will not do anything about it. I mean, I don't personally know how our lawmakers can hear these stories of these suffering people and just look the other way and not do anything, year after year, when they have the power to do something to help these people. So it's very frustrating. It's beyond frustrating to me.
Yep. And so when you say the legislature hasn't done anything, what we do know is that there was a bill that passed the House in the last session, right? And then the Senate was just like, what bill?
I'm totally talking mostly about the Senate, because I know we have the votes in the House. So I'm talking about the Senate. And, we go up there and we get, oh, yes, I support this, or yes, I support it. But, really, that's just not enough for us anymore. If they're going to support patients, they need to put their name on the line and co-sponsor our upcoming bill. Like, for instance, Whitney Westerfield is one that I'll talk about. He says he supports us, but he refuses to co-sponsor. So, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Why would you not co-sponsor, and why would you not support sick and suffering people in your district? I have to question everything about him if he doesn't co-sponsor this bill.
And you guys have done, I think a lot of work. You've been in the Capitol a ton. I'm seeing this picture of you with Stivers saying, it seems like he said he would meet with you, and then now he won't get back to y'all to set up a meeting. Is that right?
Yeah, he's always nice to our face. Most of them are, but then they put their legislative assistants, these four very nice women, they put them in between because they're too cowardly to meet with us in person. But yeah, for years trying to meet with Senator Stivers and several others. I'll name every one of them if you want me to, but the bottom line is they don't want to. They are cowards. They will not meet with us because they don't want to face the truth. They don't want to look in this mama's eyes and let me tell you about my child, and then you tell me that your special interest groups are more important. Because I'm prepared to do that all day long.
Well, let's do this. Tell us a little bit about what you because I don't know anything about your child. Tell us a little bit about your child. What got you into this fight, and what can people do to help you out with it, I guess. And Kristin, if we start with you.
Sure. I have a daughter, Shelby. She has Dravet syndrome. She was diagnosed in May of 2008. She's been on a ton of terrible and toxic medications since she was 4 years old. Figure this out. And so I think I want to say it was 2010 or so, looking at her just deteriorate day after day. I so happy to see 60 Minutes, and they were talking about this child who had Dravet syndrome, same as what mine had been diagnosed with, over in Colorado, and they were using medical marijuana, and these children were going from not being able to speak or go to school or anything, and their entire lives were changing. And that's all we wanted, was the chance to be able to live as normal a life as possible. So I started fighting for this, ran into several like-minded people, and it's just been a roller coaster since. I've met with people from all over the state who are just as desperate as we are. And, we thought we would go in, figure out how this process goes. We thought we'd go in and meet with our legislators and tell them our stories, and it would be and they would do the right thing for us, but they have really failed us year after year after year. And I get accused a lot of being really mad about it. And the truth is that I am. And I have every right to be. These people are paid by us. And how dare they say that my child doesn't matter, because she's everything to me.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, obviously your passion for your kids and their health is, is laudable and, a huge motivator. And I'm so glad you've, done the work to bring this issue to so many lawmakers and so many people. I'm sorry that, we're running into some soulless senators who just don't seem to be motivated by that, that same passion that you feel. Julie, how about you? How'd you get into this fight?
Well, my son Preston, he has drug-resistant epilepsy, and let's see, he was diagnosed at age 4, so he's 22 now. So we have spent many years trying to find something. And in 2015, we also heard about Charlotte out in Colorado. And at the time, we couldn't get CBD here, but we wanted our son to try it. So we made the trip out there, which was a very long way to drive, And within 6 weeks, let me say that first, he was having around 200 seizures a day. So within 6 weeks, he was having 0 seizures. And, that lasted for a few years. He did really, really good on CBD. And as he got older, some grand mal seizures started creeping back through. So we decided in 2019 to let him try medical marijuana from out of state. And I'm proud to say that as of last month, he's been 3 years seizure free. So that's awesome. That's just one instance with my son. And I have, my mother has grade 4 glioblastoma brain cancer, which was just diagnosed 7 months ago. So I'm doing all I can to help her and help keep her alive and help keep her happy and comfortable as well. So, because modern medicine just isn't working for us.
Yeah. I mean, that's really powerful stories. And thank you both for sharing them. And thank you both for your advocacy. I'm sure that Kimberly has some, things that she'll want to add in here for internet connection is stable enough to get the question out. But, I did want to just flag that it does seem like the Senate is a mess and they don't have a consistent line on this issue. And I think we really clearly need to bring the pressure on them to get the Senate to do what's, just the fair thing here. Right. And set up our own medical marijuana industry in Kentucky and not make folks, and again, laudable that the governor is doing what he can do. But, it does seem very clear the Senate needs to act and do it quickly. Kimberly, what do you have for our guests?
I just really, really admire these two women for what they're doing and the strides that they've made. There was pressure on our governor to do the right thing, and he's done it, at least the first step. There are studies out here that show specifically where cannabis can and has helped numerous of individuals from anxiety, panic disorder, arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, and the list goes on. And the one thing that you can feel assured about is that it would be regulated. As I keep saying to people on the streets, you can get some weed that has fentanyl in it, embalming fluid and many other items in there. But I just really appreciate what they're doing. I wore my earrings today. See, I wore it just for you ladies.
I love them.
I love them too. And so I just believe that not only, and prayers go up for your mom, okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Both your children as well. Understand being a mother, what that really means. We're willing to do whatever it takes for our children to be well and to, live a full life. Okay.
Absolutely.
But it's one thing I do know, they need to make it recreational too, because it's one thing that I do know, not that I've experienced it personally or anything like that, but I do know that No one is shooting each other when they're
Right.
smoking weed. No one is
Absolutely.
robbing a bank when they're
Right.
smoking weed. Nobody's fist fighting when they smoke weed. The most you're going to do is gain some weight and laugh at every daggone thing. And then life sometimes a little funny. It's so terrible sometimes that you just got to laugh about it. So, Kentucky needs to get on the board. Like, we're falling behind on so many things, and we need to get on the board. Some people are moving to these other states,
Yeah.
so they could get medical marijuana. Some people are moving out of the state to be able to participate recreationally. It's just like prohibition. Do we have to do the 3-4 knocks to open the door to get some weed? I mean,
Yeah.
we got to do better here in Kentucky. And these two women are certainly trailblazers, and they are my sheroes.
Oh,
Really.
thank you.
No, I'll just be honest. I fangirl off of Kristin and Julie. This is a true grassroots movement that has had no, backing by, far left or far right or far whatever, anybody. I mean, this is just the guts and determination of women. Again, women who have had enough and are doing what they can for their kids. And so, I love both of y'all like nobody's business. I've never seen people work so hard, to make change for all of us. And so I just wanted to thank you guys. I think the world of you. And thanks for coming on and sharing your story. The more
Thank
people
you.
hear it, the more we can help. And I'm committed to help you guys in however way I can.
Thank you.
And we love you too. We love all.
We do. We absolutely love you. We look up to you.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like, and I followed your social media a little bit since Nema, told me to do so, and so I do whatever.
Aaron,
that?
It's no fun unless I interrupt you. Can I show them this? I need to send you guys some. Look at this.
Oh my goodness, those are huge. They look heavy. Uh-oh.
No, they're so light. Are they not cute?
They're pretty. Excuse me a second.
Those are totally pretty. All right, so I also wanted to just point out that you guys have done a really good job on your social media of sharing people's stories, right? Really compelling, great portraits of people, and then the story about the ailment that they're fighting and how it helps, the veteran who went from like 13 pills a day to 1 pill a day because of medical marijuana, the really compelling stuff. So if you are not following them on social media, please do so. Check them out. What else can people do to support the cause? Like what do you guys what do you want people to, how should people take action?
I can tell people, once January comes around, we can put up the 1-800-372-7181 number and just have people call. And let's just bug them until they listen to us and until they make changes and actually do something that benefits patients. Anybody can get a hold of me. I'll help you find your legislators if you don't know who they are, and we'll email them, and we'll just stay on them as much as we possibly can.
That sounds like a winner. Kristin, anything to add there?
We would love to see people get more involved. Issue is bigger than about elected who really represent you and the majority of their constituents. We have Frankfurt is full of self-serving representatives, and I think that's just because people aren't really paying attention. So I encourage everybody to get involved for whatever matters to you, whatever your issue is, and meet with your elected officials. Find out how they're serving you, really, and if you're not happy with them, then you can take it out on them at the ballot box. And I hope you do.
Yeah, that's right. They work. I will say they work for you. And a lot of people don't understand that, but they absolutely work for us. And we have to hold them to that. We have to hold them accountable, or they will not do anything to help us.
Yes.
Nema knows.
No, absolutely. And I think that's something we need to, further share. Like, obviously Stivers was the kind of single guy that could have brought the issue to a vote in the Senate last session. So we need to have a pressure on him. And I think, if I've got a minute in the next week or so, I'll put up an action alert that we can share on our site so people can send an email to Stivers and their senator to say, hey, it's time for action on medical marijuana. Stivers was very quick to issue a statement against, the governor's actions, right? But didn't seem to, acknowledge his own role in the fact that he forced the governor's hand by doing nothing on the issue, right? And I think we need to make sure that all these senators are held accountable for their garbage. And I'm whatever we can do for sure to help make that story, heard around our Commonwealth, because it is. If you read the executive order, Andy's like really clear, like this is really popular. It really helps people. There's no reason we shouldn't do this, except for the fact the legislature is not taking action. So here's what I can do. Right.
Right.
So, really awesome work. Thanks so much for it. And, please don't hesitate to let us know other things we can tell our viewers and our supporters to get the word out.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Love you guys.
Bye, y'all. Thank you.
Impeach Stivers. We just got to impeach the guy. All right, we got to check into the impeachment process. But we have an impeachment process as voters. We can just not send these jerks back. But I do think that was not that those dots were not connected for enough voters, right? Because I do know it's popular. When we did our poll, it wasn't top 5 for the issues that people care the most about, but there's a lot of horrible things the legislature had done. So the options were pretty significant between the war on public education and the war on teachers, and the kind of all they did to make abortion illegal, and so many things that legislature did. But I'm disappointed that our voters in our Commonwealth decided let's just go ahead and build on that GOP supermajority and give them even more power. So, things are gonna be tough for Andy to get anything useful done, I think, in Frankfurt, but this is an issue that we should, I think, laser focus on and try to do everything in our power to get it across the finish line. If the House can do it, there's no reason the Senate can't pass it as well.
Well, I mean, except they're the Senate, and that's where everything good goes to die.
Yeah, those jerks. All right. Any other thoughts people want to add about these issues we've talked about today, or should we try to wrap it up?
Well, I think we should wrap it up. Yep.
Well, we've got Kimberly enough bandwidth to talk. Kimberly, you want to take us out, do the call to action, and call us out?
Yes, sir, I sure can, because I love this call to action. Okay, let me just tell you right now, you can take action against Daniel Cameron. Yes, the most horrible attorney general known in Kentucky, right? Tell Daniel we have spoken. We haven't topped 100 letters to the attorney general in DC yet, our wonderful Merrick Garland, and he'll be great and excellent when I see Trump in some handcuffs. But anyway, so please click through and send your message to the Attorney General that it's time to recognize the clear intent of the voters. And you know what? That should be on the screen and in to the AG. Okay, and tell all your friends to go on there, click on it. Let's get those letters going. You know what it is. You know what we got to do. Next, we're going to be back in 2 weeks. Oh yes, with one of my buddies. I love him dearly as well, Mr. Willie Carver. He's going to be a co-host on here. So we're going to be skipping Thanksgiving Eve because you might be cooking your turkeys and all that good stuff, got family in town. So we will be back on November the 30th. Yes, we will. And I need to do the disclaimer, if I may. And Progress Kentucky is a nonprofit organization registered with the Kentucky Secretary of State, organized as a 501c4, is affiliated with the Indivisible Project and the Commonwealth Alliance Voter Engagement, otherwise known as CAVE. Progress Kentucky's goal is to educate, organize, increase voter turnout, and advance a progressive agenda through civic engagement. We gave it all that we had to give, and we still are victorious. No matter what, we are still victorious because we still have the right to speak. And let us not allow anyone to mess that up for us or put a muzzle on our mouths, even though Aaron probably says, Kim, you do need a muzzle on your mouth. But anyway, production this evening was by the lovely and talented Annabelle Nigel. We were supposed to meet up at the Gold House here in Louisville for the victory party, but I don't know what happened to her. And we always want to thank Nate Orshan, our very own Nate that's on this show a lot. And for the theme song, I'm always, you all can't see me dancing in the beginning, but we're all like, jamming to the music that he created for us. And also, you can get more songs from him on natosongs.com. That's NATO songs.com. And if you miss our weekly live stream, do not fret, my pet, because you can always go back on the Progress Kentucky page on Facebook or notice us on YouTube, which I like to look at a lot of YouTube myself. And you can find our weekly live streams on there in case you couldn't catch us live. And, that way you can share it out to all your friends. It's all about the algorithm. So share, like, thumbs up, share. And also our audio podcasts are just about everywhere, Google, Spotify, on and on and on, everywhere that major podcasts are viewed. Do I say viewed or do I say listen to or the audio file? I don't know. But anyway, logo and some graphic content was provided by Couchfire Media. Go on over there to couchfiremedia.com and see what they're doing. And I know that I've been away for a moment, but I'm back. And I want to just say you've made it through Wednesday. It's hump day. You humped over the day. You only got a few more days to work this week. And then it's like Freedom City, right? But this is Kindness Week. This is no joke, no lie or anything. You all can look it up, Google it. This week is Kindness Week, but we do it every week, so it's nothing different for us. Pay it forward to someone. Have a smile for someone. Text someone. Call someone. Let them know that you're thinking about them. And not only will it bless them, it will bless you as well. And hey, Aaron and Nema and Annabelle, did you all know that my birthday is Friday? So in commemoration of Kimberly's birthday, we're going to celebrate on the 17th. And one of my most favorite performers is Prince. And yes, I cried like a baby when he was deceased. So on that day, it would be really nice if everybody would wear purple on that day and take pictures and, post them for us, tag us on it, and also play Prince throughout the day to commemorate him like it's his birthday. And I know that November the 17th or the 18th is not his birthday, but I just feel like, great people are born on the 17th or the 18th. So they must have got his birth date wrong. But until next week, same channel, same time, have a good week. Thanks for joining us.